We all know that the more context we give AI, the better the responses are going to be. But it's a lot of effort to start explaining everything. We just need something done quickly, so we don't. Let me show you how we can make this process a lot easier. It's called context block. This is language from OpenAI. Different people call it different things. But the idea is that it's a paragraph or a page or a couple of pages that give context, a lot of detail, rich context about my project or my client or my service or my business or my way of doing things. And I can just drop it into any prompt, wherever I am, whatever process I'm working, whatever AI I'm using today, that context block can come with me. Let me show you an experiment of using the same prompt with and without a context block. And then I'll also show you my favorite way of creating really good context blocks. Let's do it. This is ChatGPT, but I could do exactly the same in Microsoft Copilot, Claude, Perplexity, Google Gemini, whatever it is that we're using, and the same context block can be used across, which is another advantage. I'll run the same prompt without the context block and with it. Then I'll show you the context block and then I'll show you how I created it. So my question here is, I have a client who is an architectural firm based in regional Victoria, about 25 staff. This is as much context as I was willing to type. What is the best way to explain profit versus cash flow to them? And I hit go and we get some explanation about profit versus cash flow, definitions, example, why it matters. Nice. Now I'm going to do exactly the same prompt, but I'm going to bring in my context block. And my context block is just a simple text file. It looks like this. It has a lot of information about my client, and I'll show you in a moment how I created it. Let's go. What really happens behind the scenes is that ChatGPT can read both my prompt and my document, so it's a much richer prompt. In this response now, I get a bit more detail and relevance. So it talks about Greenstone, which is my client. It talks about a council project that is specific. So the example is very specific. Council pays 60 days after each milestone. They talk in numbers that are probably relevant to my client. Architecture projects often have a long lead time and milestone billing. So it talks a lot more specific and a lot more relevant. I showed you briefly that this is my context block, my text file that has all this information about this client. And when I look at this, I go, oh my God, now I have to develop something like that. That's a lot of work, but it doesn't have to be. Let me show you 3 quick steps that you can use to create this level of context block and even better. Let me show you how. I like to create my context blocks in 3 steps. Step 1, I get the AI to ask me a lot of questions about this client or project or my business. Step 2, I get it to review my responses and see if it all makes sense and if we missed anything that seems significant. Step 3, I get the AI to write my context block. And there's a little trick to making step 1 very easy to do. And to do that, I'm again in ChatGPT or Copilot or wherever you like working. And I'll say something like, I want to develop a context block that will help AI tools understand subject, my client or my project or my business, and produce more accurate, relevant responses. Ask me a series of thoughtful questions, or I like saying nuanced questions, to help you understand what this project is about or this client is about, what it aims to achieve, who it involves, what makes it distinct, whatever you want to include here. Ask one question at a time and I'll answer in detail, and you can ask follow-up questions if you need more clarity. And let's say understand my client who is an architectural firm, so that it looks like the one we've just done. What my client business is, etc. Okay, let's do that. So it's going to ask me some questions now, and I asked it to ask me one at a time. It says, can you describe what your client's architectural firm does, what it covers, etc. Now I'm not going to start typing because typing takes a lot of time and energy. I'm going to use the dictate button, which is different to the voice mode button. Voice mode is where I have an interaction with the AI going back and forth. Dictate, I'm just dictating a prompt, and everything that I say now will be written into the prompt. I can stop and think for as long as I need. It's not going to bump in and start talking back to me. I can change my mind and say something again and say it differently. And let's say that now I'm describing my client. Oh, they're a firm, they have this many people, they work in Melbourne and in Sydney and in Perth, and they're doing this kind of project and their clients are like this and da 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 da. When I finish talking, everything I just said will be transcribed and typed here into the prompt. It takes a minute, but here it is, including my da 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 da. Everything I just said. And then I can send this, and this is my response to question 1. I like it because I can talk and talk and talk. I don't need to be very structured. It's easier to talk than it is to type, and I can send that through. And then it will ask me question number 2 and question number 3. When I've finished answering all the questions, step 2 will be to say, right, review all my responses and see if we missed anything important, or if there's more nuance that you might need. It might ask me more questions. And once I've exhausted that, step 3, I will say, right, now write me the context prompt. I want it to be 500 words or 1,000 words or more or less or whatever it is that I need. Play with it and see what works best for you. For me, it's usually around 500 words or 1,000. What you've seen here is, I think, is a 500 one. Once I've done it, I'll keep that context block in a text document or in a Word document, somewhere handy that I can pick it up and drop it whenever I need it, in every chat, in every app that I'm using. And maybe I need to put it in a place where the rest of my team can use it as well, if this is a project they might be working on or a client they might be working on. I also like to keep those chats where I created that context prompt. I keep them in a project, or if it's Copilot, it will be in a notebook, wherever I organize my chats. And that is because if something significant changes for this client, I want to go back to that chat and say, they changed. This person left and this person joined and they started doing this service and stopped doing that. Update my context prompt. And I don't want to have to answer all the questions again. I want to go back to that chat, just make a change, get a new context prompt, save, and off we go. This can make a huge difference in the quality of responses that you get from AI, because you don't need to put the effort of doing the context every time again and again and again. What it does mean is that you need to do something in your process. You need to add some steps in your everyday processes to create this context prompt for every new client, for every new project, or for every new context in your business. But I'll tell you what, it's really worth it. Let me know how you go.